This is Anatoly Dyatlov, Deputy Chief Engineer at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. He's overseeing the night shift, running a safety test on reactor number 4. The clock's ticking toward 1:23 a.m. The test is supposed to be routine, but the stakes are sky high. Dyatlov, under pressure to meet quotas in a creaking Soviet system, pulls nearly all the control rods out of the reactor to keep it running at low power. Big mistake. The RBMK reactor, infamous for its quirks, becomes a ticking time bomb. Nobody told Dyatlov the full extent of its design flaws. Nobody warned him how unstable it could get. Buckle up, this is about to get wild. At 1:23 a.m., a deafening explosion rips through reactor number 4, blowing the roof off the building like it's made of paper. A fireball erupts, flames shooting nearly 300 meters into the night sky, burning for days. A monstrous cloud of radiation cesium, iodine, plutonium billows into the atmosphere, spreading across Western Soviet Union, Eastern and Western Europe, poisoning everything in its path. The fallout is apocalyptic, and the world will never be the same. In the hours that follow, the radioactive cloud doesn't respect borders. It drifts over Europe, contaminating soil, rivers, and air. The nearby city of Pripyat, home to over 40,000 people, isn't evacuated for a full 36 hours. Imagine that 36 hours of breathing in invisible poison. Residents start feeling it: nausea, vomiting, headaches, spontaneous bleeding, skin burns. Weeks later, hair falls out, immune systems collapse. This isn't just a technical failure, it's a humanitarian disaster. So, was Chernobyl just a tragic mix of human error and bad tech, or does it expose a deeper shame of the Soviet Union, caught in the high-stakes chess game of the Cold War? Let's dive in. The Soviet Union is a pressure cooker. Political turmoil, economic stagnation, and a tense standoff with the U.S. define the era. Later then, Mikhail Gorbachev takes the reins as General Secretary, launching Perestroika, its economic restructuring, and Glasnost, this is political openness, to drag the sluggish Soviet system into the modern age. Private businesses pop up, the press gets a bit freer, political prisoners walk out of jails. But it's not enough. Corruption scandals explode, thousands of officials are prosecuted, some face harsh penalties. Ethnic tensions flare, especially in Ukraine, where trust in the government is crumbling faster than a bad Soviet apartment block. The people are fed up, and the system's cracks are showing. Enter Chernobyl, a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, designed to showcase Soviet might. Reactor number 4 is set for a safety test to see if its turbine can generate power during a sudden blackout. The test is overseen by Plant Director Viktor Bryukhanov and Chief Engineer Nikolai Fomin, with Dyatlov running the show on the ground. Sounds straightforward, right? Wrong. The RBMK reactor, powered by uranium-235, is a beast. Its uranium nuclei split when hit by neutrons, releasing energy and more neutrons to keep the chain reaction going. Graphite moderators slow those neutrons down, while water cools the core and absorbs some neutrons. But here's the kicker. When the cooling water boils and forms steam bubbles, it absorbs fewer neutrons, letting more run wild, speeding up the reaction, a dangerous positive feedback loop. If you don't keep a tight grip, things spiral out of control fast. That night, the team pushes the reactor to a dangerously low power level, 30 megawatts, to run the test. At this level, the RBMK is like a temperamental race car, ready to spin out. Dyatlov, pressed to meet production goals and lacking full knowledge of the reactor's quirks, orders the control rod's neutron-absorbing brakes almost fully withdrawn to stabilize power. The reactor teeters on the edge. When the emergency shutdown system, Arizona 5, is activated to slam the rods back in, a fatal flaw in their design, graphite tips of all things, causes a brief spike in the reaction. Power surges from 30 megawatts to 30 gigawatts, 10 times the reactor's normal output. The cooling water vaporizes instantly. Pressure skyrockets. A steam explosion obliterates Unit 4. The fireball lights up the sky, and a radioactive plume escapes, carrying deadly isotopes across continents. Firefighters and workers, including Dyatlov, face lethal radiation levels with no warning. Pripyat's residents, blissfully unaware, go about their lives as the invisible threat seeps into their lungs. The Soviet machine, obsessed with secrecy, delays evacuation, amplifying the disaster's toll. At the Kremlin, Gorbachev and Deputy Chairman Boris Sherbina scramble to respond. Sherbina leads the crisis team, coordinating evacuations, firefighting, and eventually encasing the reactor in a concrete sarcophagus to trap the radiation. Valery Legasov, a brilliant chemist from the Kurchatov Institute, arrives to investigate. He's the first to call out the truth. The disaster isn't just human error, it's the RBMK's flawed design, hidden for years by Soviet bureaucracy. In the weeks after Chernobyl, 31 people pass away from acute radiation sickness. Thousands more face long-term health risk cancers, immune disorders, you name it. The environment takes a beating. Forests and rivers turn toxic for generations. Pripyat becomes a ghost town as over 300,000 people are displaced, many facing stigma as radioactive outcasts. Alexander Akimov, the night shift supervisor, battles the disaster head-on and passes away months later from radiation. Dyatlov, Fomin, and Bryukhanov face prison for mismanagement, but the blame runs deeper. The Soviet government's initial cover-up delaying evacuations, hiding the disaster's scale backfires spectacularly. When radiation is detected in Sweden, the world forces the USSR to come clean, shattering its international credibility. How do you trust a system that lies about a catastrophe this big? Chernobyl exposes the rot, bureaucracy, corruption, and an obsession with secrecy. It fuels nationalist movements, especially in Ukraine, where calls for independence grow louder. Gorbachev's glasnost opens the door to public debate, but it also weakens the Communist Party's grip. The economy tanks under the weight of cleanup costs and health impacts. The exclusion zone around Chernobyl becomes a haunting reminder of what happens when responsibility fails. Ukraine votes overwhelmingly for independence, a nail in the Soviet Union's coffin. Gorbachev himself admits Chernobyl was a turning point, laying bare the system's flaws, corruption, incompetence, and eroded trust. The disaster didn't just destroy a reactor, it helped dismantle an empire. On the global stage, the USSR's image crumbles, forcing cooperation with the West on nuclear safety. Thousands of workers and volunteers, many suffering or passing away from radiation, become unsung heroes in a tragedy that could have been worse. Chernobyl isn't just a story of engineering gone wrong. It's a warning about hubris, secrecy, and the cost of cutting corners. The reactor's ruins still stand, encased in concrete, a monument to what happens when ambition outpaces caution.